On a distant planet, far beyond the stars humans knew, there stood a massive alien training facility. Its walls gleamed like silver, stretching high into the sky. Strange symbols pulsed along the surface, lighting the endless corridors with a cold blue glow. Inside, the air was filled with the hum of alien machines and the quiet whispers of the trainers. In the center of the main chamber stood a small human child. His name was Kai. He was no taller than the alien instructor's knees, his bright eyes scanning everything with curiosity. His hands were small and human, but his mind seemed sharper than anyone expected. Around him, towering alien masters observed silently. Their forms were unlike anything seen on Earth. Some had translucent skin revealing glowing veins. Others had multiple limbs ending in precise claw-like fingers. "He is the one who can change everything." "Or destroy it all," whispered one of the older aliens, its voice like a melody mixed with metal. The others nodded, their eyes glowing faintly as they watched the human boy. Kai had not always been here. Years ago, his colony had been destroyed in a violent raid by unknown forces. He had been found alone, a tiny, crying infant drifting among the ruins. The aliens had debated whether to raise him, arguing quietly among themselves. Some said humans were weak, emotional, and fragile. Others whispered that there was something different about humans, something hidden and dangerous. In the end, they decided to train him. From the very beginning, Kai had surprised them. He learned faster than any alien child they had ever trained. He adapted to their strange languages and complex codes in days that normally took weeks. He mastered alien combat simulations in ways even his instructors could not predict. Every test seemed designed to push him to his limits, yet Kai surpassed them, not with raw strength, but with cleverness and instinct. The room often echoed with the aliens' discussions about him. "He thinks too fast," one would say. "Too clever. He may be more than a child," another replied. "Perhaps humans are not as fragile as we believed. Perhaps they are dangerous." Kai paid little attention to their words. His small mind was busy observing everything. The patterns in the lights, the shifts in the trainers' movements, the quiet hum of the machines. Still, sometimes he would feel a strange emptiness in the galaxy, something heavy, waiting, watching. Then, one quiet day, a sudden message appeared in the alien communicator. It was not like any message they had ever received. The stars themselves seemed to ripple as the words appeared. "They are coming, and only he can stop them." Kai froze. The alien trainers gasped. A cold silence spread through the chamber. Who were coming? How did the message know about him? No one had ever sent a message across these distances, and yet here it was, clear and urgent. The lead instructor, a tall figure with 4 glowing eyes, approached Kai slowly. "Child," it said softly, "do you understand the meaning of this?" Kai shook his head. The message was clear in its warning, but he did not understand who they were or why only he could stop them. His heart beat fast, but his eyes were calm. Somewhere deep inside, he felt a strange connection to the message, as if the galaxy itself had chosen him for a purpose he could not yet see. The instructors whispered again among themselves, their voices anxious and sharp. "This is the one we have prepared him for. The danger. It is real." Another said, "If he fails, the galaxy may fall. If he succeeds, perhaps everything will change." Kai looked around the chamber. Machines hummed, lights flickered, and the alien masters waited with tense anticipation. A part of him felt excitement, though he did not understand why. Something was calling him, pulling him toward a destiny far beyond the safety of this facility. That night, Kai lay on his small bed, staring at the glowing ceiling. The message repeated in his mind, "They are coming, and only he can stop them." He did not know who they were, but he felt the weight of responsibility pressing on his young shoulders. For the first time, he wondered if being different, being human among aliens, was not a weakness but a strength. Outside, the stars shimmered cold and distant. Somewhere in the vast galaxy, forces beyond imagination were moving. Wars, destruction, and power that even the oldest aliens feared were coming closer. And Kai, the human child who had learned their languages, mastered their machines, and survived their toughest tests, was now at the center of it all. The next morning, the alien trainers gathered him in the main hall. Their faces were serious, their glowing eyes fixed on him. "Kai," the lead instructor said, "your journey begins today. You must understand this. The galaxy is in danger, and only your actions can tip the balance." Kai's heart pounded, but his voice was steady. "I will do my best. And in that moment, the boy who had once been lost among the ruins of a destroyed colony stepped forward, unknowingly taking the first steps toward a war that no human or alien had ever faced before. Somewhere far away, the shadow of the approaching enemy stretched across the stars. The unexpected war was about to begin. The morning sun, or what passed for a sun on this distant alien world, shone faintly through the silver walls of the training facility. Kai stood at the edge of a massive simulation chamber, his small frame dwarfed by the enormous room. The walls hummed and pulsed, and strange holographic projections shimmered in the air, showing alien landscapes, moving enemies, and complex obstacles. "This is your first real test," said his lead instructor, the tall alien with 4 glowing eyes. "You will face situations that may seem impossible. You will survive, or you will fail." Kai nodded, though a flicker of fear ran through him. He had trained for years with alien masters, but this was different. This was not a controlled lesson or a practice simulation. It was a test designed to push every limit of his mind and body. The chamber shifted suddenly. The floor became uneven, a mixture of jagged rock and glowing alien metal. From the shadows, strange creatures emerged. They were tall, with long limbs and sharp claws, moving faster than Kai could see. Their eyes glowed red, and they hissed in a language he could not understand. Kai froze for a moment. His instincts told him to run, but the years of alien training kicked in. He analyzed the creatures' movements, noting their patterns. They attacked in waves, yet they always left a small gap before striking again. Using that moment, Kai darted between the first 2 attackers, sliding under a swinging claw, and rolled into cover behind a glowing rock. The instructors watched in silence, their glowing eyes following every move. Some muttered to each other, clearly impressed. "He learns faster than any human should," one said. "Perhaps he is more than just clever."
Perhaps.
The words hung in the air. Kai's heart pounded. He felt the adrenaline, but also a strange clarity. He realized that raw strength would not save him. He had to think, to predict, to be clever. He began to use the environment, flipping over glowing platforms, luring creatures into their own traps, and moving faster than his small body should allow. Minutes passed. Or was it hours? Time seemed strange in the chamber. Finally, one creature lunged straight for him, faster than anything he had seen. Kai jumped, twisting midair, and landed on a narrow platform above a pit of glowing energy. The creature missed, falling into the pit, hissing and screaming. The instructors exchanged surprised glances. "He survives and thrives," whispered one. Another shook its head slowly.
He will change everything.
"Or destroy it all." Just as Kai caught his breath, a sudden alarm blared through the chamber. A hidden door opened, and a massive mechanical beast rolled in. Its body was armored, and it had dozens of weapons mounted on it. The creature advanced slowly but deliberately, its sensors scanning for him. Kai swallowed hard. He had never faced a real machine this large. Yet deep inside, he felt a strange calm. He remembered every lesson the aliens had taught him: strategy, observation, patience. Using the holographic terrain to his advantage, he baited the machine toward a narrow bridge. Then, with a precise jump, he triggered a trap he had noticed earlier. The bridge collapsed, and the beast fell, smashing into the glowing pit below. Sparks flew. The chamber went silent. Kai's breathing was heavy, his small body trembling with exhaustion. The instructors walked forward, their steps echoing in the vast room. "You have passed the test," said the lead alien, his voice low but full of meaning. "Few even survive this trial. You have not only survived, you have outsmarted every challenge." Kai smiled faintly, but his mind was not at ease. He had passed a test, yes, but something deep inside whispered that the real danger was not in these walls. It was outside in the galaxy. The mysterious message from before still echoed in his mind. They are coming, and only he can stop them. Before Kai could think more, a new message arrived from the outer monitoring station. This time it was not a hologram or a projection. It appeared directly in the chamber's air, words floating like stars. "The Vraxian scouts have been detected. They are closer than you think. Prepare, young human. Your journey begins now." The instructors' faces turned grim. The Vraxians were the enemy that had destroyed countless colonies across the galaxy. Entire planets had fallen before their fleets, and now scouts were approaching this sector. Kai understood the weight of the message. The test had been practice. This was real. He looked at the instructors. I am ready," he said, though his voice trembled slightly. Inside he felt fear, but also determination. He was small human, surrounded by Toei. Kai's small ship glided silently through the endless darkness of space. Stars stretched around him, distant and cold like tiny beacons in the black void. But the calm was only an illusion. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath as if sensing the danger approaching. Kai gripped the controls, his heart beating fast, yet his mind was sharp. He was no ordinary human. He had been trained by the most advanced alien minds, and the galaxy's survival might now depend on him. Earlier, in the alien training facility, the instructors had explained the gravity of the situation. Entire planets had already fallen to the Vraxian fleets. Cities were destroyed, and millions of lives were lost before any defense could respond. Now scouts were detected near the human sectors. Kai's mission was clear: observe, report, and survive. But deep down he knew this was more than a scouting mission. The fate of entire worlds might rest on his actions. The first warning came from the ship's sensors. Red blips appeared on the screen, moving fast and deliberately. Vraxian scouts. They were unlike anything Kai had encountered before. Sleek, dark ships that moved with terrifying speed, armed with weapons capable of obliterating planets. One false move and he would be destroyed. Kai's mind raced. He remembered every lesson from the aliens. Predict the enemy, think beyond brute strength, use the environment. He adjusted the ship's shields and activated the cloaking system. Slowly, carefully, he maneuvered through the asteroid field ahead, weaving between massive rocks and debris. The Vraxians followed, their sensors sharp, their movements precise. Hours passed, or maybe only minutes. Time felt strange in the void of space. Kai noticed a pattern in the enemy's movement. They were organized, predictable in a way that only someone observing closely could detect. Using his small ship's agility, he lured a group of scouts into a narrow asteroid corridor. Their formation broke, and he managed to disable one with a precise shot. Meanwhile, a message arrived from the alien training facility, appearing as a hologram in his cockpit. The lead instructor's voice echoed through the chamber. Kai, the Vraxians underestimate humans. They see us as weak, use that. Think beyond what they expect. You have learned more than we intended. Your uniqueness may be their downfall. Kai nodded silently. The weight of the galaxy pressed on him, yet he felt a strange confidence. Humans were small, fragile, and emotional. But those traits, curiosity, creativity, unpredictability, gave them a power the aliens did not fully understand. He could use that power now. Suddenly, one of the larger Vraxian ships broke formation and targeted him directly. Its weapons glowed ominously, and Kai felt the ship shudder under the force of its scans. He acted instinctively, diving into a field of space debris. The Vraxian ship followed blindly, not anticipating the twists and turns Kai had calculated. In a flash, the ship collided with a massive asteroid, exploding into a cloud of fire and metal. Kai exhaled slowly. His small body trembled with adrenaline, yet a spark of excitement lit his eyes. He was learning, adapting, surviving. Every move he made gave him new information, new insight into the Vraxians' weaknesses. And the more he understood them, the more he realized the truth. The galaxy was in real peril. But humans, especially him, were not powerless. A sudden signal from a distant human colony interrupted his thoughts. The transmission was weak, almost lost in the void of space. The colony's leader spoke urgently. Scouts are everywhere. We can't hold them. If they break through, the entire sector will fall. Please, send help! Kai's small hands tightened on the controls. He was just one human alone in the vast galaxy, but he felt a surge of determination. He would find a way. Somehow he would turn the tide. But even he could sense the enormity of the task ahead. The Vraxians were relentless. Entire civilizations had fallen before him. And still, the galaxy had not given up hope. As he calculated his next move, a strange energy reading appeared on the ship's sensors. It was unlike anything he had seen before. A signal, hidden deep in the asteroid belt, flickering in patterns almost like a heartbeat. Kai focused, analyzing it. It was a message, perhaps ancient and yet somehow connected to humans. He did not fully understand it, but a shiver ran down his spine. Whatever it was, it might be the key to survival. The Vraxians closed in. The scouts surrounded him, weapons primed. Kai took a deep breath. He was small, human, and alone. Yet the galaxy itself seemed to whisper in his mind, "This is your moment, act." And in that instant, Kai made a decision. He would use the Vraxians' arrogance against them. He would turn their predictability into a trap. He would show the galaxy, aliens and humans alike, that even a small human could change the course of war. The sensors blinked, lights flashed, and the first wave of a desperate battle began. Somewhere beyond the stars, the shadow of the Vraxian armada loomed, but Kai, the human child trained by aliens, was ready. The galaxy was in peril, but perhaps, just perhaps, the smallest spark of human courage could ignite a light strong enough to save it. Kai's small ship moved silently among the stars, weaving through asteroid belts and nebula clouds. Every blink of his sensors made him more alert. Every flicker in the distance could be an enemy. The message from the alien instructors still echoed in his mind. The Vraxians underestimate humans. They see us as weak. Use that. He had survived the scouts. He had learned their patterns. But now the real enemy awaited, larger ships, heavily armed, moving in formation. The Vraxian fleet. Their dark silhouettes drifted toward him like predators circling prey. Kai felt a mix of fear and determination. He was small, a human child alone in the galaxy, yet he knew he could not run forever. The first enemy ship opened fire, massive beams cutting through the void. Kai twisted his small vessel, barely escaping the deadly blast. Sparks flew across the hull as his shields absorbed some of the impact. He realized quickly that brute force alone would not win this fight. These ships were stronger than any he had seen before. He needed strategy. Kai remembered what the instructors had taught him: observation, patience, and unpredictability. Humans, they said, were unpredictable. He could use that. He studied the Vraxian formation, noticing a small gap between two ships, a space the larger vessels could not maneuver quickly. An idea sparked. He activated his ship's engines to maximum, weaving through the formation. The Vraxians fired again, but Kai was faster, smaller, and clever. He led the enemy fleet into the narrow asteroid field nearby. The massive ships struggled to follow him, crashing into rocks and each other. He had predicted their moves precisely. Kai's heart raced, but he didn't stop. He sent a quick message to the nearest human outpost. Enemy in sector. Watch for gaps. Follow my lead. His voice was small in the vastness of space, but humans listened. They were inspired by his courage. Suddenly, one Vraxian ship broke away from the group, larger and darker than the rest. Its weapons glowed red, and it seemed to sense Kai's presence directly. It moved with terrifying speed, faster than any scout. Kai's small hands tightened on the controls. The instructors had warned him. The Vraxians did not respect humans. They thought him weak. That arrogance would be his advantage. Kai darted through the asteroid field, luring the massive ship toward a narrow canyon between two glowing rocks. The Vraxian followed blindly, its size making it impossible to turn quickly. At the last moment, Kai twisted sharply and the enemy crashed into the canyon wall. Explosions lit the dark space around him. The remaining fleet paused, cautious now. They had underestimated a human. Kai realized this was the turning point. Humans were not weak. Humans were clever, unpredictable, and relentless. He had no weapons as powerful as the Vraxians, but he had something more, thinking no alien could fully predict. A sudden signal appeared on his console. It was the alien instructors, their holograms flickering in the cockpit. Kai, the lead instructor said, his voice serious. You have learned faster than we imagined. Use your advantage. Humans survive because they think differently. Lead them. Show the galaxy what humans are capable of. Kai swallowed hard. The responsibility weighed heavily on him, but he felt a strange surge of determination. He would fight, not just for himself, but for humanity, for the colonies at risk, and for every life the Vraxians threatened. Another wave of Vraxian ships approached. They were larger, better organized, and more aggressive. Kai studied them carefully, noticing the patterns in their attack. Humans rarely followed a strict plan. They improvised, adapted, and made unexpected choices. Kai smiled faintly, understanding what he had to do. He sent another signal to human colonies across the sector. Watch their moves. Do not follow blindly. They are predictable. Strike where they are weak. Humans responded quickly, launching small ships to intercept the Vraxians. Kai guided them, using his alien training and human intuition. Together they caused confusion in the enemy ranks. The Vraxians realized too late that one human child was directing the defense. Their arrogance had blinded them. They expected fear, weakness, and surrender. Instead, they faced courage, strategy, and unpredictability. Kai's small ship darted between enemy lines. his mind calculating moves faster than any human or alien should. The first encounter ended with the Vraxians retreating temporarily, damaged and cautious. Kai floated silently among the stars, his chest heaving with exhaustion.
He had survived.
He had outsmarted the enemy, and for the first time Kai returned to the hidden human colonies, his small ship gliding silently among the stars. The galaxy felt tense, every planet holding its breath. The Vraxians had retreated, but only temporarily. Their main fleet loomed somewhere in the darkness, ready to destroy anything in their path. Kai knew that survival depended not just on his skills, but on inspiring humans to rise against the enemy. The moment Kai landed, he was met with a mixture of awe and fear. Colonists crowded around, whispering. Some had heard of the small human child who had survived the Vraxian scouts alone. Others doubted. How could a single child make a difference against such a massive enemy? Kai stepped forward. His voice was small but steady. "Listen to me," he said. "The Vraxians are powerful, yes, but they are predictable. They rely on fear, on strength. Humans are different. We think, we adapt, we surprise, and we survive." At first, the humans were silent. Doubt lingered in their eyes. But Kai had a spark that could not be ignored. He demonstrated what he had learned from the aliens. Strategies, maneuvers, and tricks that no one had ever used in the galaxy before. He showed them how to move in ways the Vraxians could not anticipate. He taught them to use their environment, the asteroid fields, the hidden passages in space, even the weak points in the enemy's formation, to their advantage. Slowly, confidence grew. Adults who had never held weapons prepared for battle. Pilots adjusted their ships according to Kai's instructions. Scientists rigged defensive systems, making small modifications based on his calculations. Even children watched, inspired by the courage of one human boy. The energy in the colonies shifted. Fear began to turn into determination. Humanity was awakening. Kai organized the first coordinated strike. Small ships, guided by his orders, moved stealthily through the sector. The Vraxians did not expect this level of coordination. They had thought humans were weak, reactive, and disorganized. They were wrong. The first clash came near a dense asteroid belt. Kai led a small group, using the narrow passages to trap enemy ships. The humans struck quickly, dodging attacks and hitting the Vraxians where their armor was weak. The battle was intense, but Kai's strategy worked. The Vraxians lost ships, forcing their fleet to scatter. Amid the chaos, a message arrived from the alien instructors. Their holographic forms shimmered in Kai's cockpit. "Well done, Kai," said the lead instructor. "You have awakened something that even we did not expect. Humans are not weak. They are clever, resourceful, and brave. This is only the beginning. The main fleet is approaching. You must prepare them." Kai nodded silently. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on him. He was small, human, yet the galaxy's fate rested partly on his shoulders. But the fire inside him did not falter. He saw it in the eyes of the colonists, their trust, their hope. Humans could fight. Humans could survive. Suddenly, the colony, sensors detected a massive energy signature, the Vraxian main fleet. Ships larger than any Kai had seen before emerged from the darkness, weapons glowing, engines thrumming with power. Panic swept through the colonies, but Kai raised his hand. "Do not run," he shouted. "We are humans. We adapt. We survive. Follow my lead. Trust me." Pilots gripped their controls, taking deep breaths. Scientists activated hidden defenses. Families huddled together, watching the courage of one human boy. And Kai, small but determined, led them into the first strategic attack against the Vraxian main fleet. The battle was brutal. The Vraxians fired massive beams cutting through asteroid fields and space debris. Human ships dodged and struck, exploiting gaps Kai had calculated. Each move was a risk, each decision life or death. And yet Kai's instructions worked. Slowly, humans began to push back. Ships that seemed doomed survived through clever maneuvers. Enemy weapons missed their targets because no one could predict human unpredictability. Kai realized something incredible. Humans were not just surviving, they were fighting back. For the first time, a human strategy forced the Vraxians to retreat in confusion. Their arrogance had blinded them. They had expected fear, surrender, and weakness. Instead, they faced courage, intelligence, and unity. As the main fleet pulled, back damaged and cautious, Kai looked at the human ships gathering around him. He felt a strange pride. He had trained with aliens, learned their skills, and faced impossible danger. But humans had something aliens could not teach: creativity, adaptability, and hope. Humanity was awakening. The colonies erupted in cheers, but Kai did not celebrate. He knew the fight was far from over. The Vraxians would return, stronger, more determined. But for the first time, the galaxy could see that humans were not helpless. They were survivors. They were fighters. And they were led by a child who had learned from aliens but carried the spirit of humanity in his heart. Kai adjusted his controls and looked at the stars ahead. "We have shown them what humans can do," he whispered to himself. "But this is just the beginning. The galaxy will never underestimate us again." And somewhere, deep in the darkness, the shadow of the returning Vraxian fleet stretched across the stars, unaware that their greatest challenge had already begun. The stars shone cold and distant as Kai's small ship led the human fleet toward the approaching Vraxian armada. The enemy fleet was massive, hundreds of ships, each bristling with weapons capable of destroying entire colonies. Even the alien instructors had warned that this was a threat unlike any other, yet Kai felt no fear. He had trained for this moment his entire life, and he carried the courage of every human behind him. "This is it," Kai whispered to himself, gripping the controls. "One last chance to prove humans are not weak." The Vraxians noticed the humans immediately. Their weapons glowed ominously as they opened fire, cutting through asteroid fields and debris. But the human ships moved with precision Kai had taught them. They dodged, weaved, and struck at the gaps he had predicted in the enemy formation. Every attack was calculated. Every move was a test of ingenuity and courage. Kai's heart pounded as he guided the fleet. He had one plan, a strategy no alien could anticipate. Using the human fleet's small size and agility, he led the Vraxians into a massive field of debris. Hidden there were traps and energy pulses prepared by human scientists. The Vraxians, confident in their superior strength, followed blindly. "Now!" Kai shouted, and the human ships activated the traps. Beams of energy, previously invisible, shot out, damaging the massive Vraxian ships. Explosions lit the void, and chaos spread through the enemy lines. The Vraxians had underestimated humans once again, and this time it would cost them. Kai maneuvered his ship through the battlefield, small but fast, using every trick he had, learned from the alien instructors and his own human intuition. Enemy ships tried to flank him, but he anticipated every move. His strategy was simple yet brilliant: force the Vraxians to fight where humans had the advantage and control the flow of battle. The alien instructors watched from their distant observation posts, their eyes wide with amazement. "He has done what we thought impossible," one whispered. "A human child leading a fleet against the deadliest enemy in the galaxy." Kai's small voice came over the fleet comms. "Stay calm. Don't panic. Use your heads and think. The Vraxians expect fear. Give them strategy instead." The humans responded with precision. Even small ships found ways to disable larger Vraxian vessels. The enemy's formations crumbled, their attacks became uncoordinated, and confusion spread like fire. The human fleet, guided by Kai, struck at weak points, forcing the Vraxians to retreat from some positions and fight on their terms. Hours passed. The battle raged across the void of space, sparks and explosions illuminating the darkness. Kai felt exhaustion creeping in, but he pushed through. Every maneuver, every calculated risk, brought them closer to victory. Humans were not only surviving, they were fighting back, and for the first time the Vraxians were on the defensive. A sudden warning appeared on his console. The enemy flagship, enormous and bristling with weapons, was moving to cut off the human fleet. This was the final challenge. Kai knew he could not defeat it with raw strength. He had to be clever, faster, and more unpredictable than ever. He remembered the ancient signals he had discovered in Part 3, the strange energy pulses in the asteroid belt. He led the flagship toward the field. The massive ship struggled to navigate the narrow passages, while Kai's small vessel darted around easily. At the perfect moment, he triggered a hidden energy trap, sending a shockwave that crippled the flagship's weapons. The human fleet took advantage immediately. Coordinated attacks hit every exposed section. Explosions rocked the flagship, and Kai watched as the massive vessel slowed, its engines failing. The Vraxian commander realized too late that one small human child had outsmarted them. Finally, the flagship stopped moving entirely. The remaining Vraxian ships, seeing their leader defeated, began to retreat. The galaxy was quiet again, the stars once more distant and calm. Humans had survived, humans had fought, and one human child had changed the course of a war that seemed impossible to win. Kai floated among the stars, his small body trembling with exhaustion and relief. He had led, taught, and inspired. He had turned fear into courage, weakness into strategy, and hope into victory. The alien instructors approached him in holographic form, their glowing eyes filled with respect. "You have done more than we imagined," said the lead-ins.